you'll find that the most powerful men of high position drop words in which they pray for leisure, praise it, and prefer it to all their blessings. They sometimes long to step down from that pinnacle of theirs, if they can safely do so. For even without any external disturbance or shock, fortune crashes down on itself under its own weight. The divine Augustus, to whom the gods gave more than to any man, never ceased to pray for rest for himself and to seek release from the affairs of state. Every conversation of his kept coming back to this theme, that he was hoping for leisure. He would relieve his toils with this sweet, even if illusory consolation, the thought that one day he would live for himself. Seneca's words whisper an almost hidden realization that sometimes excessive wealth, fame or power do not guarantee happiness, no matter how hard we may try to believe otherwise. Sometimes having too much of what is popularly perceived as desirable can be just that, too much. And Augustus Caesar, the first Roman emperor, could have attested to this idea according to Seneca. Even though at the peak of his career, even with having obtained almost everything every Roman must have surely dreamed about at that time, one thing was sorely missed: the ability to spend his time like he really wanted. Because what is often overlooked when striving to attain such a highly demanding position in society is that it can rob you of certain aspects of life you may not even be aware are crucial for a sense of lasting contentment. One such is being the master of our own time, and with it, making sure there is a healthy balance between doing our professional duties along with taking care of the needs of our inner world. Some, like Marcus Aurelius, to also name a Roman emperor, are able to train themselves to accept this reality and adapt the best they can, while for others it unwillingly becomes the source of a lifelong struggle, as in the case of the divine Augustus. When therefore you see anyone eminent in honors or power or in high esteem on any other account, take heed not to be hurried away with the appearance, and to pronounce him happy. For if the essence of good consists in things in our own control, there will be no room for envy or emulation. But for your part, don't wish to be a general or a senator or a consul, but to be free. Epictetus, like Seneca, also sees through the superficiality of judging the lives of VIPs solely on the account of their public appearance. He also identifies another possible sacrifice to being such a somebody: the loss of control over one's life. Because fame fades quickly if you are not careful enough about how you present yourself to the world. One misstep and you can easily put a stop to what you've toiled all those years for. So to maintain a sense of relevance, you have to learn how society sees you and do whatever is in your power to justify the image you've helped them build. And this trade-off where you exchange your authenticity in order to be well liked by others is a compromise Epictetus would not be willing to make. By handing agency over your life to the unknown masses, you've handed them, as Epictetus calls it, your essence of good, your freedom. And there is as little sense in envying or begrudging someone for their loss of freedom as there is in trying to become like them. So don't wish to be a general, or a senator, a president or a movie star, a pop star or an influencer. Wish for the privilege of being who you really are. And remember, a rock thrown in the air, it loses nothing by coming down, gained nothing by going up. Because beautiful things of any kind are beautiful in themselves and sufficient to themselves. Praise is extraneous. The object of praise remains what it was, no better and no worse. This applies, I think, even to beautiful things in ordinary life. Physical objects, artworks. Does anything genuinely beautiful need supplementing? No more than justice does, or truth, or kindness, or humility. Are any of those improved by being praised, or damaged by contempt? Is an emerald suddenly flawed if no one admires it? Or gold, or ivory, or purple, lyres, knives, flowers, bushes? To Marcus Aurelius, our fundamental values first come from within and are limited to what is in our control, meaning our actions and our rational mind joined in a subtle alliance with empathy, kindness, and love of others. Everything other than that is in the best case scenario an added bonus, but one that we might be careful not to depend on, as it ultimately does nothing for our improvement as human beings. Because praise is dependent on the actions and thoughts of other people, and if we focus on it too much, we might end up spending our lives telling a story others have written in our stead. We may become a supporting character in the novels of their lives, instead of being the main protagonist in our own. To Stoics, happiness and long-term contentment do not come from trying to satisfy what others want from us. They come from us mustering enough courage to try to live authentically. Of course, it may happen that what we enjoy doing turns out to have a positive effect on others, and as a result, we may become somebodies in the eyes of a larger community. But to Stoics, that is never the goal, only a possible consequence of our actions. So instead of focusing on fame, we might want to think about settling for something much less extravagant, the possibility of spending our remaining time in a state of relative anonymity. Taoism also embraces this concept, even at the cost of us being considered losers. This next video shows that in the Tao Te Ching, to be weak or to be a loser is not taken at face value, but transformed into something entirely different. To find out more, see you there.